Santa Monica, embodying the essence of the California lifestyle, free-spirited, vibrant, and full of energy, is now under spillover pressure from Venice Beach, facing a comprehensive breakdown in both environmental conditions and public safety. Where a paradise has effectively become the scene of a drug crisis, polluted ocean water, and declining tourism, all of which are pushing this coastal haven into a very real crisis.
What it is? What's up? What's up? Got your nigga in the cup. Goddamn. What it is? What it is? What it is?
You're walking along Santa Monica Pier. The ocean breeze feels cool. $1 million view right in front of you. Tourists laughing and chatting all around. But just a few hundred meters away, it's a completely different story. You know, we're literally standing right on the border between Santa Monica and Venice Beach. On one side, it's clean, constantly patrolled. Tents are basically cleared out every morning. On the other side, it's where many unhoused people are still trying to survive night after night.
I broke my leg 2 weeks ago, okay? Santa Monica, they try to take stuff off my neck. My right leg is a weapon. I'm a back-to-back national soccer champion. Upland Celtics is who I represent. I do not get in trouble, but I'm here for the people. Why? Because I am blessed by the Holy Spirit.
And here's what really makes people question things. According to the latest data, Santa Monica alone has about 812 unhoused individuals, with nearly 475 living on the streets, and dozens more sleeping in cars, tents, or temporary shelters. That number might not sound huge, but imagine a small coastal city with that many people without stable housing. You see the problem? The city has spent $418 million, extending the state of emergency year after year, but why hasn't anything really changed? Only about 10% actually goes toward helping people secure long-term housing. The rest is spent on temporary hotels, short-term services, and operational costs. Some politicians have called this a money pit. Karen Bass, mayor of Los Angeles, once stated,
"Leaning into the new direction we've charted for LA, my budget also includes an unprecedented $1.3 billion investment to accelerate our momentum on homelessness."
So, where did the money go, or is it simply being used to move people from one side to another just to keep them out of tourist sight? What you think? But the story doesn't stop there. Right near that iconic pier, there have been times when the ocean water was flagged for quality, not just a little dirty, but at levels that could actually affect your health. And yet, tourists still go in and swim like nothing's wrong. Doesn't that feel strange?
They say that old breakwater does help prevent beach erosion. It gives marine life a place to flourish. But again, they suspect it may contribute to some water flow issues that trap bacteria and pollutants. So they're just working to better understand what's happening at this point.
Tourism here isn't what it used to be. Some shopping areas are quieter, more stores are closing. It's not that the beach got worse. Instead, the experience worsened. Santa Monica is slowly starting to show signs of becoming more like Venice Beach. Do you see it too? Right? So in this video, I'm not going to show you the best looking version of Santa Monica. I'm going to show you the full picture from what you see online to what's actually happening in real life. Stay with me because this is not what you expected. Santa Monica is a small slice across Los Angeles County, but it's a high-pressure zone. Why? Services, transit, tourists, everything compresses here. The shift is immediate. A few blocks from Santa Monica Pier, the postcard ends. Small tent clusters popping up overnight along the bike path and in the parking lots that used to be packed with tourists. No giant camps like Venice, but enough scattered setups that the city has to sweep them constantly. Start with what you can measure. The Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority 2024 count recorded 75,000 plus unhoused people across Los Angeles County. Back in October 2025, LA County dropped a bombshell. They plan to turn two prime oceanfront nursing homes at 413 and 825 Ocean Avenue, million-dollar views straight across the sand, into supportive housing for mentally ill homeless individuals. Local homeowners lost their minds, flooded the city with petitions, and the whole thing got paused fast. But right before Thanksgiving, roughly 50 unhoused people quietly moved in anyway. No permits, no approval. City crews had to run an emergency inspection and clear the building. Now the street reality. Trash piles up faster than it's cleared. Public restrooms are limited. So, waste spills into sidewalks and alleys. The city runs encampment cleanups, then people return days later. Same spots, same cycle. No long-term fix. If the cleanup keeps repeating, is anything actually being solved? Third Street Promenade isn't a high-end retail hub anymore. Look at these boarded-up storefronts. That's the sound of Capital Flight. Retailers are straight up bailing because you can't sustain a business when your front door becomes a de facto biohazard zone. We're seeing a massive exodus of anchor tenants replaced by plywood and for lease signs that stay up for months. The math is simple and savage. When the experience dies, the revenue follows. Bottom line, if the city continues to prioritize optics over actual street-level security, they aren't just losing visitors, they're forfeiting their future. Honestly, at this point, the decay is so baked into the infrastructure. What you're seeing right now is the literal death of a West Coast icon. Put it together. High density, limited infrastructure, repeating cleanups, water contamination, and a night safety gap. This isn't one issue, it's stacked pressure. And when pressure stacks, something always gives.
Sit down. Xanax? How much have you taken?
Now let's cut through the postcard bullshit and look at the hard street-level impact. Santa Monica used to be the pure California dream. Packed beaches, clean sand, non-stop energy, tourists flooding in from everywhere. That was the brand. Today, the same stretch of coast is getting hammered. First, the water. Heal the Bay just slapped the Santa Monica Pier with another straight-up F grade for bacterial pollution. Storm drains and urban runoff are dumping fecal indicator bacteria straight into the ocean right under the pier. On paper, it still looks like paradise, but insiders know the risk is real. Stomach bugs, ear infections, skin rashes, Yet you still see tourists and locals jumping in anyway. How many people are swimming in water the experts literally grade as failing and don't even realize it? Then there's safety. During the day, the pier is loud, crowded, cameras everywhere. But flip the switch tonight and it flips into a different world. On the 15th of March, 2026, a massive fight broke out near the arcade around 9 p.m. Gunfire erupted. 2 people got shot, 1 in the arm, another grazed. And one 8-year-old from Rialto got arrested on the spot. Crowds scattered like it was a war zone. And that's not a one-off. Meth and fentanyl have made a chunk of the street population way more volatile and unpredictable. Roughly 50% of downtown police calls are now tied to homelessness-related incidents. The numbers don't lie, public order offenses are climbing, and the feeling of unease is spreading. Same pier, same sand, same ocean, but after dark, it's 2 completely different realities. You got it? Tourism is taking the biggest punch. Visitor numbers have dropped over 50% since 2019. Shops on the promenade are boarding up, hotels are hurting, and the city just declared a fiscal distress situation with a multi-million-dollar hole in the budget. Locals will tell you straight, it's not just bad PR. The visible chaos, the trash, the constant low-level tension, it's killing the experience that used to bring people back year after year. So here's the brutal contrast. During daylight hours, it's still Instagram California, happy crowds, Ferris wheel spinning, kids laughing. But once the sun drops, the energy shifts hard. Fewer people out, more caution in the air, more calls to the cops. Same place, 2 completely different worlds. And the question nobody wants to say out loud is this: how long can a tourist destination survive when the California dream version and the Wall Street reality keep colliding right in front of the cameras? Let's get straight to the street level truth most people won't say out loud. Drive 10 minutes south from Santa Monica Pier and you hit Venice Beach, a whole different battlefield. Venice is still the heavier zone, bigger tent setups, more RVs, clogging side streets, graffiti, covered chaos, and those notorious encampments that keep coming back even after major sweeps. Just this year, one of the worst spots on Rosenhampton returned 3 years after the Inside Safe program cleared it out. On the ground, it feels raw. Tents packed tighter, more visible trash and debris, and a heavier fentanyl presence that keeps things volatile. Now flip it back to Santa Monica. Right now, the city still runs tighter control. No massive tent cities like Venice. Strict anti-camping rules mean smaller, scattered setups, mostly single tents, or people sleeping in vans and cars near the parking lots and bike path. The numbers back it up. While Venice cut its unsheltered count by 22% last year, Santa Monica actually saw a 5% rise, largely from vehicle living. But here's the hard part. A lot of that increase is spillover. When Venice pushes people out, a chunk simply moves north on the bus or bike and sets up shop right along the Santa Monica border. Same ocean, same sand, 10 minutes apart. Yet the street reality feels worlds different. Or does it? Because here's what's really grinding on insiders. Santa Monica is starting to look more like Venice every month. Those small tent clusters around the pier and beach lots are getting more frequent. The same patterns of encampments returning days after cleanup are showing up. The spillover effect is real, and the stricter enforcement is only shifting the pressure, not erasing it. Is Santa Monica still holding the line, or is it slowly sliding downhill toward the same chaos just south of the border? Bottom line, on the ground, Venice is louder, messier, and more entrenched. Santa Monica still looks cleaner on the surface and enforces harder, but the numbers and the daily street movement tell a different story. The pressure from next door isn't fading. It's crossing the line and testing how long Santa Monica can keep its version of controlled before the two beaches start feeling too damn similar. This doesn't start on the sidewalk, it starts with cost and supply. In Los Angeles County, housing prices and rents have outpaced income for years. Entry-level units are scarce, affordable inventory is tighter, so when income drops even slightly, people fall out of the system fast. One missed paycheck, one medical bill, one job loss, that's enough to break the chain. Then layer in the pipeline problem. Short-term shelters exist, but capacity is limited and turnover is slow. Getting from a bed tonight to stable housing months later is the real bottleneck. Waitlists stretch. Paperwork stacks. Coordination between agencies isn't always smooth. As a result, people cycle street to street again. It's not a straight path out, it's a loop. Add post-pandemic pressure. Service jobs disappeared, then came back unevenly. Some workers never re-entered at the same pay level. At the same time, inflation pushed basic costs. Food, transit, utilities higher. So even those working can't always close the gap between income and rent. That gap is where instability lives. There's also the health layer. A portion of the unhoused population is dealing with mental health challenges or substance dependence. Those conditions don't create the crisis by themselves, but they make recovery harder and slower. Outreach teams can stabilize, but without long-term housing, progress doesn't stick. Now, connect the system. High housing costs plus low supply. People get pushed out. Limited shelter capacity. People can't transition quickly. Economic shocks. More people fall in. Health barriers, fewer exits. Everything feeds everything. That's why quick cleanups don't solve it. You can clear a block, but if the pipeline is still clogged, the pressure rebuilds. The root cause isn't visibility, it's a housing and support system running below demand. So after seeing the real pressure on the streets and the spillover hitting Santa Monica hard, the big question is, what exactly is the city doing about it? Santa Monica rolled out its official Homelessness Strategic Plan 2025 to 2030 back in March 2025. It's built around four main pillars. Prevention to stop people from losing housing in the first place. Behavioral health to deal with mental health and addiction issues head-on. Safe public spaces to keep the beach and downtown usable for everyone. And regional coordination to work with LA County and neighboring cities instead of fighting alone.
It's Derek King, but my nickname is DK, that's what everyone calls me.
On top of that, the city adopted the realignment plan in October 2025. This is the more aggressive, on-the-ground piece. They've ramped up the homeless liaison program with more officers downtown. They're doing regular sweeps of encampments, and they're pushing hard on enforcement. In the first 6 months alone, they restructured patrols, so you now see 8 to 10 officers focused downtown every day. But here's where the street reality gets raw. The city is actively trying to move services out of the prime tourist zones. They're looking at leasing beds outside downtown, places like Pico neighborhood and even Sunset Park. And there's serious talk about relocating the old Samashal shelter entirely and turning it into a new healing center model that combines housing with addiction treatment and mental health support. For the first time, they're even exploring spots outside Santa Monica's city limits to take some of the pressure off the beach and Pier area. They're spending millions and rewriting the whole playbook, but does moving the problem a few miles away actually fix anything? On paper, it sounds like progress. In practice, the cycle is still brutal. Crews sweep a spot near the beach or parking lots in January or March, clear out the tents and debris, yet multiple setups pop right back up just days later. The same patterns keep repeating. Clean today, tents return tomorrow. Enforcement is stricter than in Venice, but the underlying issues, addiction, mental health, and lack of enough long-term housing, keep pushing people back onto the streets. Is this real change, or just an expensive game of whack-a-mole that looks good on reports but doesn't hold up on the actual sidewalk? The city says they're shifting from simply managing the impacts to focusing on housing outcomes they can control. Locals and business owners are watching closely to see if the realignment plan can actually deliver safer public spaces without just relocating the chaos somewhere else. Bottom line from the ground, Santa Monica is trying harder and spending more than a lot of places with clearer plans and more coordinated enforcement. But the daily street level results still show the same frustrating loop: sweep, clear, repeat. Whether this 5-year strategy and the realignment plan can finally break that cycle is the real test playing out right now on these beaches in 2026. Santa Monica still delivers the image: sunset, ocean, the iconic Santa Monica Pier glowing in the distance. But once you look closer, the gap between image and reality is hard to ignore. The issues aren't hidden, they're just easy to crop out. So the real question isn't whether this place is still beautiful. It is. The question is whether the experience around it still matches the promise. When a destination starts to unpredictable, unpredictable, people don't just leave, they rethink coming back. And maybe that's where Santa Monica stands right now. Not broken, but clearly at a turning point.